If somebody would have recommended to you Pagani Design maybe 10 years ago, most of you guys would have laughed. But yet, here we are today, and Pagani is one of the biggest names in affordable watch collecting. This is the rise of Pagani Design. Hey, there you are, and welcome to My Dude Watch. My name is Jason, and today we are talking about Pagani Design. Love them or hate them, they've become one of the biggest affordable watch brands in the world. Well, today we're going to find out why and show you some stunners along the way. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be fun. You know the deal. Grab a snack, pull up a chair, and let's talk watches. Before we can understand the rise of Pagani Design, we have to go back about a decade. The affordable watch market looked very different than it does today. If you wanted premium materials and a high level of specs, you expected to spend a few $100s or more. Budget watches almost always come with compromises. I'm talking about mineral crystals, basic finishing, and cheap bracelets. It was simply understood. If you wanted more, you were going to pay more. Then something started happening. A little-known brand called Pagani Design began appearing on AliExpress. At first, hardly anyone paid attention, but little by little, collectors started noticing something unusual. The specs started outweighing the cost, and before long, the entire affordable watch market started paying attention. In other words, the flex was a whole lot more than the cost. Now, what was Pagani Design's formula? It really wasn't that complicated. They took features that we all associated with more expensive watches and started offering them at prices that seemed impossible. I'm talking about watches that give you sapphire crystals, ceramic bezel, solid end links, dependable automatic movements, and specs that only a few years earlier would have cost 2, 3, maybe even 4 times as much. One of the biggest reasons they could do this was their business model. Instead of selling through distributors, wholesalers, and retail stores, Pagani Design sold directly to you through online marketplaces like AliExpress. With fewer middlemen taking a cut, they could put more of their cost back into the watch itself instead of the traditional retail markup. It wasn't the only reason their prices were so low, but it was a big part of the equation. Suddenly, people who had never considered buying a mechanical watch had an affordable way to do it, and many began collecting. There was a lot of experienced collectors that started buying them too, not because they expected perfection, but because they couldn't ignore the value. Were there compromises? Yeah, of course, but for the money, Pagani Design was changing expectations. And once collectors realized it was possible to get incredible specs for under $100, there was no turning back. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, because there was one thing that everybody noticed about Pagani Design. Their designs looked familiar. Many of those early models were heavily inspired by some of the most iconic watches ever made. To some collectors, that made them an incredible value. To others, they crossed the line. But the debate really wasn't about the quality of the watch. It was about originality. Supporters argued that Pagani gave everyday collectors access to designs they really would never have been able to afford, while critics argued that the brand relied too heavily on the work of others instead of creating its own identity. Whether you agree with them or not, one thing was certain: people were talking about Pagani Design. And in business, sometimes attention is the hardest thing to earn. But here's the interesting part. Even the critics were buying these watches because people were arguing that it really wasn't replacing Rolex or Tudor or any other. It was actually replacing not having a watch at all. Someone buying their very first mechanical watch, Pagani offered an affordable way into the hobby. For experienced collectors, it became a fun way to try a new style without spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For others, it was simply an expensive watch they could wear every day without worrying about scratches or damages. Pagani didn't succeed because everybody loved their watches. They succeeded because they made watch collecting more accessible to everyone, introducing countless people to a hobby that may never have entered it otherwise. Like most young companies, Pagani Design wasn't perfect. Early models were criticized for inconsistent quality control, weak loom, rough bracelets, and of course their heavy reliance on homage designs. Some of those criticisms were fair, but here's what impressed me. Pagani Design listened. Over the years, the finishing improved, the bracelets became better, and the quality became even more consistent. They expanded their lineup with dependable movements like the Seiko NH35, the sweeping VH31 Mecha Quartz, and even the PT5000 for enthusiasts looking for a higher performance. Perhaps most importantly, they didn't stand still. While homage watches remain a big part of their identity, we've also seen Pagani begin experimenting with more original designs and establishing a style that increasingly is their own. That's the sign of a company that's growing. Not perfect, but growing. So what is Pagani Design's legacy? I don't think it's simply that they sold a lot of watches. I don't even think it's just that they made affordable homages. The real legacy is that they changed expectations. They proved that enthusiast-level specs didn't have to come with an enthusiast-level price. They forced competitors to improve. They helped redefine what collectors expected from a watch under $100. And perhaps most importantly, they opened the door for thousands of people to discover mechanical watches one at a time. Whether you've owned a Pagani Design or not, you've probably benefited from what they started. Love them or hate them, their impact on the affordable watch market is impossible to ignore. And I think that's a legacy worth recognizing. But that's just my opinion, and yours is more important. So what do you think? Is Pagani Design one of the most influential watch brands in the last decade? Well, there you go. The rise of Pagani Design. We put a ton of links in the description. So go there, check them out, see if any of these are right for you. Just remember, if you decide to make a purchase, My Dude Watch may get a small commission. You don't pay more. Hey, you made it to the end of another video. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please take the time to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It'll only take you a second, but it really does help. All right, my friends, we checked the time and it is time to wrap it up. So we are going to close the show. My name is Jason with My Dude Watch. We'll do it all again next time. But wait, don't forget, dudes can't be late.